Have you ever considered how vulnerable our digital infrastructure could be? In today's interconnected world, our reliance on digital infrastructure is greater than ever before. It's the backbone of our daily activities. We depend on it for everything from catching up with friends across the globe on social media, to monitoring our health with wearable devices, to controlling our home appliances remotely. It's become such an integral part of our lives that we often take it for granted. But what happens when this infrastructure is disrupted? Can we survive a day without our digital devices? How about a week or even longer? The potential risks are myriad: natural disasters, cyber attacks, and even solar flares. Each of these could disrupt our digital infrastructure, wreaking havoc on our daily routines and, in extreme cases, threatening our very survival. Natural disasters like earthquakes and hurricanes can damage physical infrastructure, severing internet connections and taking down power grids. Cyber attacks, on the other hand, can infiltrate our digital systems, compromising data and causing widespread disruption. And then there's the threat of solar flares. These giant eruptions of energy from the sun can unleash electromagnetic pulses that can fry our electronic devices and disrupt our communication systems. These vulnerabilities aren't just hypothetical. They're very real, and they've been tested in the past. The Carrington event in the 19th century, for example, was a massive solar flare that wreaked havoc on telegraph systems, the most advanced communication technology of the time. More recently, the at&t network outage left tens of thousands of customers without vital communication capabilities, highlighting the fragility of our digital infrastructure. So, while we enjoy the conveniences of our digital world, it's critical to be aware of the potential vulnerabilities and to plan for them. We need to build resilience into our systems and prepare ourselves for potential disruptions. Because when it comes to our digital infrastructure, it's not a question of if it will be tested, but when. Now let's delve into some historical events that have tested this vulnerability. In 1859, the world experienced a solar storm of epic proportions, known as the Carrington event. This celestial spectacle was named after Richard Carrington, the British astronomer who first observed it. This event was a powerful geomagnetic storm caused by a coronal mass ejection, a significant release of plasma from the sun. For those unaware, this solar storm sent an electromagnetic wave hurtling towards Earth, which collided with our planet's magnetosphere. The result? An unprecedented disruption of the telegraph system, which was the primary means of long-distance communication at the time. Telegraph wires sparked and machines malfunctioned, some even catching fire. The world, still in the infancy of its electronic era, was given a jarring glimpse into the potential power of solar storms. Now let's bring the Carrington event into the 21st century context. Today, our society is deeply entwined with digital technology. We rely heavily on electronic systems for everything from communication and commerce to healthcare and transportation. The world's data, our knowledge, our memories are all stored digitally. Can you imagine what would happen if a solar storm of the Carrington event's magnitude hit us today? A storm of this scale could cause widespread power outages, crippling our electrical grids. Satellites orbiting the Earth, which we rely on for GPS, weather forecasting, and communication, could be rendered useless. Our digital life as we know it could come to a standstill. The internet, our lifeline in the digital age, could go dark. The financial toll of such an event is estimated to be in the trillions of dollars. In essence, a Carrington-level event today would not just disrupt our lives. It could potentially plunge us back into a pre-digital age, forcing us to grapple with a world without the conveniences we've grown so accustomed to. This isn't a dystopian science fiction scenario, but a real possibility that scientists and experts warn us about. So as we continue to advance in the digital age, it's crucial to remember our past, to understand the power of our sun, and to prepare for the possibility of future solar storms. Imagine the chaos if a similar event were to happen today, in our digitally connected world. A fast forward to 2012, when Earth narrowly missed a solar storm of catastrophic proportions. Imagine our planet spinning in the vast expanse of space, just barely avoiding a coronal mass ejection of a magnitude equal to or possibly greater than the Carrington event. This solar bullet whizzed right past us, passing directly through Earth's orbit while we were safely tucked on the other side of the sun. Now consider the implications of such an event. Picture servers sizzling like bacon in a greasy pan, communication satellites rendered as useless as a chocolate teapot, and life support systems compromised to the point of failure. It's the stuff of science fiction, yet it's a very real threat that we face in our technologically dependent society. In essence, this near miss served as a cosmic alarm bell, jolting us awake to the vulnerability of our electronic infrastructure. Our planet, with all its technological marvels, was just a hair's breadth away from a potentially apocalyptic scenario. But what does this mean for us, the inhabitants of this digital age? Well, it means that we cannot afford to be complacent. We cannot simply assume that our technology, as advanced as it is, will always be there to support us. We have to acknowledge and address the fragility of our digital infrastructure, the thin veneer of security that stands between us and technological chaos. We have to remember that our digital world, as interconnected and efficient as it is not invincible. It's susceptible to the whims of the cosmos, to the unpredictable bursts of solar energy that can send our systems into a tailspin. And so, we must prepare. We must strengthen our defenses, bolster our systems, and ensure that we have robust contingency plans in place. We must invest in resilience and redundancy, in backup power sources and alternative communication channels. In recent times, we've seen examples of how fragile our digital infrastructure can be through events like the at&t network outage. This incident, not too far in our rearview mirror, was a stark reminder of the precarious nature of our digital world. Imagine, if you will, the daily humdrum of life interrupted abruptly. Suddenly, tens of thousands of at&t customers found themselves in a digital void. Calls dropped, messages failed to deliver, and data services became as elusive as a mirage. While other carriers continued their service unscathed, at&t grappled with the outage, leaving its customers in a communication blackout. This wasn't just an inconvenience. For many, it was a lifeline cut short. Businesses were unable to process transactions, emergency services had difficulty coordinating, and individuals were cut off from their loved ones. The at&t outage wasn't just a temporary disruption, it was a glaring spotlight on the fragility of our interconnected world. But what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? Well, it underscores how dependent we've become on our digital infrastructure. It's not just about being able to stream the latest series or scroll through social media feeds. It's about the heartbeat of our society, the rhythm of our day-to-day life. And when that rhythm is disrupted, even momentarily, it can have far-reaching implications. Consider the ramifications if such an outage was not just an isolated incident, but a widespread, prolonged disruption. The domino effect would be staggering. Our financial systems would falter, healthcare services would be compromised, and our ability to communicate, to reach out to others in a crisis, would be severely impaired. These incidents serve as a stark reminder of our digital infrastructure's fragility and the need for resilient systems. Whether it's a solar flare from the cosmos or a man-made catastrophe, the consequences can be equally devastating. It's a sobering thought, but it's one that we need to confront head-on if we're to navigate the digital age with confidence. So how can we prepare for such catastrophic events? The first step, without a doubt, is acknowledging the reality of these threats. We must understand that a solar flare or cyber attack isn't just the stuff of science fiction. They are potential disasters that could disrupt our lives in ways we can barely imagine. Next, we need to prioritize resilience and redundancy in our systems. Think of it like this. If one path is blocked, do you have another way around? If your main power source fails, do you have a backup? If your primary communication method is compromised, do you have an alternative? Investing in backup power sources is a good place to start. These could be as simple as solar panels, wind turbines, or even fuel-powered generators. It might seem like a significant investment now, but in the face of a catastrophic event, they could prove invaluable. Establishing alternative communication channels is another critical step. This could mean setting up radio systems, satellite phones, or even learning traditional methods like Morse code. Remember, in a crisis, communication is key. You can't underestimate the importance of cybersecurity either. As the at&t network outage showed us, our digital world is a complex web, and a single failure can have far-reaching effects. So it's crucial to implement robust cybersecurity measures to protect against potential threats. Let's not forget the importance of raising awareness. The more people who understand these risks, the better our collective response will be. So, don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with your family, your friends, and your community. Above all, remember that preparation is not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process. It's about staying informed, staying vigilant, and adapting as new challenges emerge. The question remains, how would you prepare for a catastrophic event? Think about it, discuss it, and let's fortify our digital world together. So, let's start the conversation, and together we can build a world that's ready for whatever comes our way.